Imagine this. You're at brunch with someone who makes more money than almost everyone at the table. The check arrives, and this person, the same person who just told you about their investment portfolio, pulls out their phone, opens the calculator, and starts dividing the bill by exact calories consumed per person. Nobody says anything. Everyone just stares. And the wildest part? That behavior has absolutely nothing to do with money. Stick with me, because what I'm about to break down is going to make you rethink every cheap person you've ever met, and maybe even yourself. Here's the thing. Psychology keeps trying to tell us that we keep refusing to hear. Extreme saving isn't a financial habit. It's an emotional coping mechanism wearing a financial costume. Dr. Brad Klontz, a financial psychologist, has spent years studying what he calls money scripts, unconscious beliefs about money that get wired into your brain before you're old enough to understand what money even is. And one of the most common ones is called money vigilance. People running this script live with a background hum of financial dread that never fully goes away, even when the bank account is full, even when the bills are paid. Their nervous system is permanently parked in something bad is coming mode, and every dollar spent feels like one less brick in a wall protecting them from disaster. The really fascinating part, this behavior doesn't only come from growing up poor. Some of the most aggressively frugal people you'll ever meet grew up wealthy, because what they actually inherited wasn't money anxiety from scarcity. They inherited the behavior from parents who were the same way. They absorbed all the anxiety without ever living through the actual crisis that originally created it. It's like developing a fear of a storm you never actually stood in. Your body doesn't know the difference. It just knows that spending feels dangerous, and it can't fully explain why. Now here's where it gets even layered. There's a second type of extreme saver, and their psychology is slightly different. These people aren't just scared of financial collapse, they're using money as the one thing in their life they can actually control. Research on financial behavior has found this pattern consistently. When people feel like their life is spinning out of their hands, whether that's an unstable job, a relationship falling apart, health issues, anything, they lock down on whatever can be controlled, and money becomes the answer. Which explains something that's always confused people, the inconsistency. Why does someone refuse to pay $3 for parking, but then spend $2,000 on a rare record collection without blinking? Why do they clip coupons for dish soap, but lease a luxury car? Because this was never about the money. It's about where they feel in control and where they feel emotionally fed. They're being miserly in the places that give them that psychological grip, and spending freely in the places that scratch a completely different emotional itch.
The logic only makes sense once you stop looking at the money and start looking at what the money represents to them. Here's what nobody talks about, though: the social damage this quietly creates. When you're always the person who doesn't want to go out because everything costs money, people start feeling your discomfort even when you don't say a word. You show up to happy hour and you look like you're being held hostage. People feel that energy, and eventually the invitations stop coming. Then the loneliness kicks in, the anxiety gets worse, and the grip on money tightens even more. It becomes a feedback loop, a system designed to protect you that ends up isolating you instead. And in relationships, it's quietly catastrophic. Research consistently shows money is one of the top triggers for relationship conflict. And when one partner is extremely budget conscious and the other is any other financial personality type, you don't just have disagreements, you have two completely different emotional realities colliding. To the frugal partner, every purchase their partner makes feels like a threat. To the other partner, the penny pinching feels controlling and suffocating. Neither one is actually wrong, they're just running completely different unconscious programs about what money means. Now, here's the part that genuinely gets under my skin. People who obsessively save are doing it because they want to feel secure. That's the entire motivation. But extreme financial restraint almost always creates the opposite of security. You're so consumed by protecting future you from potential disaster that present you never actually gets to live. Your bank account says you're fine. Your nervous system says you're one bad week away from losing everything. And here's the quiet paradox sitting underneath all of this. The compulsive spender and the compulsive saver are essentially doing the same thing. One is chasing emotional relief through purchasing. The other is chasing emotional safety through hoarding. Different behavior, identical root. Both are just trying to manage anxiety through money. The line between being financially responsible and this becoming a psychological problem is thinner than most people are comfortable admitting. So here's what I want you to think about, and I genuinely want your answer in the comments. Is there one area of your life where you spend freely without guilt, but another area where you become irrationally tight with money? Because that inconsistency, that's the tell. That's where the real psychology is hiding. Drop it below. I'm not joking when I say some of the most interesting conversations I've ever had have started in a comment section on a video exactly like this one. Because most people have never been asked to think about money this way before. And if this cracked something open for you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for someone isn't giving them financial advice, it's handing them a mirror. More psychology that actually means something is coming. See you in the next one.